Hey guys, I think I saw about two of you watching. I'd like to welcome everybody to my Red, White, and Bloody July 4th special. Um, I I didn't exactly decide at the last minute, but kind of semi last minute to do this one. Because I was thinking yesterday, gee, I really would like to do something for the 4th of July, but I didn't want to do like what you would think I might do and cover Uncle Sam or something like that. I wanted to do something kind of different. Uh, but I do have something stuck in my tooth again. I was eating something earlier, so I hope you guys don't see anything in my teeth, but something's bothering. It feels like meat or something. Probably something I ate earlier. But, anyways, um, I am going to attempt to cover a couple of films tonight. Um, for those of you that did see my advertisement on the Dead Pit fans Facebook page, you probably already, hey Darren, you probably already know what I'm going to be talking about tonight. So, uh, also, being it's 4th of July, you're probably going to hear some loud bangs and pops and stuff like that on this audio. I do apologize for that, but hey, it is 4th of July and people are going to celebrate. Yeah. Oh, so I did want to. If I do seem a little off of my game, it is because I'm still quite sick. Actually, today's been a really rough day with it. Earlier in the day, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to get myself up off the couch to do this stream. And I kind of, you know, pushed myself to rest as much as I could so I would be ready for this one. Um, but a little update on my health for those of you that did not see me on the end of Steve's stream on Saturday, or haven't talked to me or anything like that. I did make waiting on more fireworks, Ben. Um, I had two virtual appointments with the little clinic, and then I had an in person appointment because I was getting kind of aggravated that I was not feeling better. You know, I'm still running fevers. I'm still um, don't have energy. Um, Still have the aches, body aches, headaches, scratchy throat, cough. Although the cough seems to come and go, so um, but my throat is sort of scratchy, which is the reason why one reason why I have the Mountain Dew anyway. Um, but what they basically told me is because I had COVID and because I'm type 1 diabetic, that I might be what they consider a long hauler with the COVID symptoms, which means I could be dealing with this stuff for months. I mean, even the fevers I could be dealing with for months. Um, and, you know, I know some people find that hard to believe and probably don't believe me. And if they hear me say this, they're probably laughing, but which I don't care. I mean, this is my third doctor's appointment, and this is what they told me. And I read up on it, and it is actually true for some people, unfortunately. So, whether anybody believes me or not, or whether some people believe me, some people don't, that's all on you guys, you know, because I'm the one that was actually in the doctor's appointment. And don't let this appear like I'm mad at you guys in here, because I'm not, because you guys have been really supportive. But um, I think Steve was getting a little perturbed at hearing me say that I was sick or I didn't feel good. And he even asked me today, he said, "So how long are you going to let this go on before you go back to the doctor?" And I'm like, why would I go back to the doctor when they basically have told me that unless I start getting some kind of neurological problems like the brain fog and stuff like that, where it makes you have trouble with what you want to say, it takes you a while to get. I'm naturally like that on the live stream anyway. But if it's, if it starts taking you a long time to figure out what you want to say before you actually say it, they call that kind of stuff brain fog. And some people that have had COVID have had lasting effects like that. Um, so basically, they said if I had, I guess, new or worsening symptoms, and definitely if I got where I couldn't breathe or was having tightness in the chest or blue lips and any of that stuff, to, first of all, you'd want to go to the emergency room, I would imagine, if you were like that. But, if I had new or worsening symptoms, basically, or troubling symptoms, to go have some labs done at my primary care physician and maybe some other tests. My lungs were clear, but I guess they are a little bit hesitant to say following COVID somebody might not get pneumonia or bronchitis or any number of things. Hey, Jay. But what they basically told me is I'm what they call a long hauler. That these COVID symptoms, the post-COVID symptoms, may be with me for some time to come, including fevers. And they tell me, as they've been telling me, as long as I have a fever, I cannot go back to the office. So I had to get another note because I was talking to my supervisor on Friday, who said it was fine with them that I was working from home, but that I might want to get a more up-to-date doctor's note in case HR comes sniffing around and starts asking questions about why an hourly employee is working so much at home. Why it matters whether I'm hourly or a salary employee, I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can explain that to me, because I don't know all the ins and outs to that stuff, or why HR would be even questioning. I mean, at least I'm working. And I am thankfully in a job where pretty much my essential functions can be done from home. I have a computer at here. I connect to my computer at work. Um, so I don't know, but maybe if you guys know the ins and outs of HR and what the difference is between an hourly and a salary employee working from home, please share that with me, because I would love to know. But anyway, basically that's where I'm at. And they did tell me that I had sinusitis, or a sinus infection, um, aggravated by the COVID. Um, and they gave me 4 different types of medicine. So I'm on 4 different types of medicine. I've got Flonase. I've got an antihistamine. I've got, I finished up my antibiotics, which was from the previous visit. Today, what else am I on? Prescription ibuprofen for the pain, and boy, do I need it. Um, and some cough medicine pills, benzoate or something like that. But anyway, I won't keep boring y'all with my health, but just to say that I am feeling pretty rough. But I did want to do this live stream tonight because it's something I plan to do, and I figure I'll sit here in this chair back at my computer desk as long as I can and hang out with you guys, and just talk about a couple of movies, and we can talk about some other things you guys want. So, what do you guys think of my background tonight? I've got the crazed guy with the axe. You can't see a lot of the axe because I was trying to get the picture adjusted where my head didn't cover up a lot of the action, so to speak. So, um, but I was able to get the guy's face in there, uh, right there. Sometimes it's hard for me to position my hand in the right place when I'm talking about stuff on the screen, but you can see the axe handle in this hand. I've been able to get these really cool backgrounds from Shutterstock, which I highly recommend. I haven't started paying for my stuff yet. I'm still on my free month, but I think the end of this month is when, if I keep it, then they'll charge me $29. And I see Jay has some he has some information on hourly and salary employees. So, Jay, you say hourly are treated as more expendable and not trusted as professional. Get updated doctor's notes. They are not fair or your friend. Follow all rules. Um, yeah, I basically, I mean, my supervisor and my manager have both been great. I know a lot of people don't trust supervisors, they don't trust managers, they don't trust anybody that's above them. But Kim, my supervisor, and Kevin, my manager, I pretty well feel like I can trust them. Um, I've always been hesitant to do, to fully trust any HR person, because they are always the ones that I don't know, they like you say, Jay, they are not fair or your friend. And they kind of want to act like they are, but then when it comes down to brass tacks, then they're not really. They're only looking out for the company. They're not like a union. They're not anything like that. So they're not looking out for an employee's well being, really. No matter how nice they may appear, they're not. And I know that, but thank you for the reminder, Jay. And yes, it is important to follow any rules they've set down. Um, but I would trust any of us hourly employees in at Stockyards, especially in the IT department, more than I would uh, some of these people in a manager position. But I that really sounds like that's feasible, Jay, and thank you for sharing that information with me. I do appreciate that. If anybody else has anything they'd like to add to that, feel free to put it in the chat, because um, I told Steve, and he thinks I'm crazy. Um, he thinks that I said I'm not going to put my job on the line here. But I told him, even when I was feeling better and the fevers are gone and all that, and theoretically I can go back to the office. I do see a psychiatric nurse practitioner and a therapist. So I have felt so comfortable working from home. I did over 300 tickets last month alone. That was by myself, completed that many tickets. Which means they're not sitting there waiting to be done. I actually finished said tickets. Um, and I thought that was a lot of tickets for 1 month. Uh, you guys, I don't know how many of you guys that come in here have been in IT positions, maybe in IT positions now, and do tickets. Steve is in an IT position now where he doesn't do tickets, but the position he was in prior to that, he did do tickets. This is the first job where I've actually been active in a ticket queue every day. And it's a whole different ball of wax, but I've gotten adjusted to it. But here's the thing, I've been doing a lot of reading on the legal side of things, mostly, because I want to have my ducks all in a row before I to even attempt this. Um, But I have discovered that working from home makes me a lot more relaxed. I don't feel like people are hovering over me. I feel comfortable, more comfortable calling people back, talking to them, getting their problems resolved as efficiently and as quickly as I can. And so, what my thinking is when I'm able to go back to both the psychiatric nurse practitioner and the therapist, I'm going to see about having them document something for me that could be presented to my supervisor, my manager, and the HR department, asking for um, accommodations for anxiety, because I do suffer from clinical depression, severe clinical depression, and anxiety and panic attacks. Um, and from what I've been reading from a legal standpoint, the employer they're not required to say, okay, you can work from home. But what they are required to do is give you accommodations, because that anxiety and depression are considered disabilities under the Americans with Disabilities Act. So that is my hope, that maybe I can be permanently working from home, which will ease a lot of mental burden on me. But hey, John, Jay, you say direct supervisors can be great but powerless if HR tells them to do something. Oh no, no, I understand that, Jay, and that's basically what was happening. Because Kim, my supervisor, has been like, "Oh yeah, stay at home as long as you need," and this and that and the other, and then word must have got back from HR, or just my manager just told her, said Dana may want to get an updated doctor's note, because HR might start asking questions. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. But you weren't a bummer, Jay, and you didn't derail anything. I mean, that you were just being honest, and I appreciate that. I do a lot. Um, let's see. John, you say, I can't imagine working in the office again. I don't function well in an office around people. Many love it, but I just like the isolation being in IT. Yeah, John, I love people. I love having a conversation with my coworkers. But what I've discovered over the last several years is I am a lot more able to perform my job duties if I am here at the house with no distractions other than occasionally the dogs or something, but they don't cause too much of a distraction. And I think the pandemic has, I guess it's been a blessing and a curse. It's probably been a curse to employers, because for years they were able to say, no, we need you at the office. You have to be at the office before you can perform your job well. Well, what the pandemic showed us is that's not always the case. There are many jobs out there where all of your essential functions can be performed from home. Now, I would be more than happy, like if they had a busy move that they had to do and a bunch of IT equipment had to be moved and set up. I would be more than happy to come in on those days and assist. But other than that, I can do tickets right from my home. There is nothing stopping me. Now, if I was without internet for months on end, then yes, I could see having to come back in the office. But barring that, or barring a power outage, there's nothing keeping me from doing the essential functions of my job. I can do my timesheet from home. I can make phone calls. I can talk to other employees of the bank. I I have had no problem at all resolving their problems. And I am always in connection through Teams, through WebEx Teams, with my other coworkers and my supervisor and my manager, even HR. So you're not isolated in any way like that. Um, Ben, you say, I'm in IT and do tickets, doing that currently. LOL. Yeah, see, I mean, it's possible. Yeah, it is possible to do it. John, you say, I do cloud and infrastructure systems engineering, ServiceNow tickets all day long. LOL. Ben, you say you also work from home. And Ben, have you had any issues? I mean, like I said, the pandemic has kind of derailed that thinking that everybody has to be at the office every day. Um, so I just wondered if you were indeed working every day from home, or do you do a hybrid? Do you come into the office a couple of days a week or 3 days a week or something? John, you say, I usually will work and have a movie playing on the side. Sometimes I can't watch them, but others I zone out and have it as background. Yeah, this job, I try to have as few distractions as possible. Now, the library job was a little bit more flexible, but they were, about the time I left, they were trying to push the library, even computer services to come back all the time. And I don't know if they've gotten to that point, but that was their key goal, I think, when I left. Um, John, you said, the way I see it, it doesn't matter how efficient you are in office or home. The employer should let us work how we work best. Yeah, and I have discovered through this time of me being sick, and also in the big part of the pandemic when I was with the library, I discovered that that is the way I work best. I'm not antisocial. I enjoy talking to my coworkers, but especially since I consider myself still a newbie, um, it's like I told my mom, I said, um, I know they're trying to be helpful and I appreciate that all, but with my anxiety being so bad, I feel like people are watching and listening to everything I say, everything I do, how I handle myself on the phone with a user, and it just drives me absolutely crazy. So I don't have that at home. Um, they would run. I mean, I know they thought, oh, gee, Dana seems like she's struggling. Let's go over there and help her. But they would be standing at my desk and talking in the ear that wasn't, that I didn't have the headset listening in on, and they would be telling me stuff. And I'm a person that gets very distracted and can't think and makes more mistakes when somebody's saying, okay, tell them this, tell them that, do this, do that. All the while I'm trying to hear the user in my other ear, and it's very difficult for me to function like that. But yet I don't want to say, get out of here and leave me alone, because they are trying to help, and that's the only way they know to help. But if I'm here and they're there, um, the only time they can offer me help is when I ask for it. And I do. I ask for it when I need it through Teams, and people are always able to help me. Even going so far as to remote in to a PC I'm on, if I'm helping another user, another employee of the bank. So, we are really tied in with each other, whether we're all in the office or some of us are at home. Ben, you say that's what I do. Not that busy, though, as I work for first responders, so only busy in emergencies. So you watch movies and YouTube most of the time? Yeah, that's what, I don't think Steve gets to do that as much, but his prior job, he did that a lot. Oh, really, Ben? So you're watching my live stream while you're working from home? So Ben, yes, every day since the pandemic. See, that just goes to and to show you that you can do that. And Ben, have you ever been pressured to come back, or at any time did they act like you could lose your job if you didn't come back to the office and work? John, you say if you work 8 to 5 from home, in reality you usually start at 7:30 and work until 5:30. You work longer and skip traffic. It's win-win for the employee and employer. Yeah, I actually start my day at 7:30 in the morning, and then I get off at 4:30. Occasionally, like one day, I was with a customer trying to get something worked out with them, and I got a half hour overtime. But that's rare. But it does happen sometimes. Traffic can go to hell. LOL. Hey, Texas. Oh, I'm just droning on about how I'm still sick and how even when I'm well, I'm going to work towards, due to my anxiety, to see if I can work from home indefinitely. John, you say, holy crap, yeah, micromanagement sucks. People in your ear is a recipe for frustration. And John, I mean, I don't want anybody to think my new coworkers are pains in the ass or micromanaging me, because it's not really the supervisor that comes over there that much. It's other employees, it's my coworkers. And I honestly know that they're trying to be helpful. And they don't really know the amount of stress that I'm under, because I try not to show outwardly that I'm a pressure cooker with that little thing jiggling at the top. Um, but I am. That's essentially what I am. And then it gets, if it gets too bad, I would, and they tell you, well, get up and take a walk if things are stressful. But my gosh, I'm the type of person that needs more than a damn walk down the hallway or something like that when something's really stressful. And I'm not feeling that stress at all um, from home. The most stress I had was that day that we were trying to get mobile iron to work on somebody's phone, and it took 2 hours with me working with one of the other employees and us working with this individual. But we got it working. And I was under a whole lot less stress than I would have been at the office. Uh, Benny say, I'm in a union. They're talking about us coming back in September, but the union is trying to keep us. Ah, got you. John, you say, I started working from home in 2020 when my wife and I moved back to Tennessee. My job I've been at for 4 months. That was the deal, remote work only. I told them, no way I'm going to an office. Travel's fine, but no commute. I got you. Um, but I think what Steve is afraid of is that I'm going to push too much and lose my job here at Stockyards. Um, I mean, maybe he thinks that because I've only been working for him since April. But, if they won't give it to me, they won't give it to me. But if you don't try, how will you ever know? And I didn't say anything about taking them to court or getting a lawyer. I think they already know the legalities of this stuff. I think they already know about the Americans with Disabilities Act and all that. If they didn't, they probably wouldn't be in HR. But anyways, Brandon is being a very noisy boy back there. I wish he would go lay down because Steve has to get up. He's going in an hour early coming tomorrow, and he does have to drive into work. He's a weird dude about that. He doesn't want to work from home. He wants to go into the office, which is I don't, for the life of me, don't understand that. I try, but I don't. Um, John, you say, I will say if it makes you feel better, there's tons of remote work stuff online on LinkedIn, so you'll have something always. Yeah, but Steve would kill me if I left this job or they fired me because I started asking questions about wanting to work from home all the time. But yeah, thank you for letting me know about that, John. I do appreciate that. But y'all go ahead and feel free to put whatever stuff in the chat that you want. But I'm going to try to ignore Brandon and maybe he'll go lay down because if I let him back here, he's going to knock over my lights and everything. And I've just gotten them where they look good with the green screen background and all that. So I really don't want to mess up. Ben, you say, I actually don't love working from home. I feel like I just moved from one chair to the other when I got from work. Yeah, it kind of does feel like that, but there's also, for me, there's so much freedom. I get to be with my animals. I don't have to leave them. I don't have to have two of my dogs crated all day long. I can do laundry on Fridays. When I'm on my lunch, I can throw a load of laundry in there. I can, order out for lunch and have it delivered. I can sit there and watch a movie while I'm, or part of a movie while I'm on my lunch. It's just really, I really like it. Oh, so you only live 5 minutes away from the office? That's not bad. Brandon needs a job, Texas. He needs to go to sleep. Now, I've already gave him his medicine to sleep. But, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the first movie that I plan to talk about. Because I've went on and on for about 30 minutes about just stuff about me wanting to work from home and stuff. But, what I decided to call this Red, White, and Bloody because normally we say red, white, and blue and associate that with 4th of July and all of that. So I had the idea, why don't I pick two movies that are considered some of the goriest movies ever? So I wanted a second opinion on what the movies were that I was gonna talk about. And so I asked Steve, I said, if you were to pick two of the goriest movies, what do you consider two of the goriest movies? And the first one he mentioned was Dead Alive, which, it actually says on there, the goriest fright film of all time. The Phantom of the Movies, New York Daily News quoted or gave that quote, that Dead Alive was the goriest fright film of all time. And it also has the tagline, some things won't stay down even after they die. And I had actually, this is a Peter Jackson movie. I love Peter Jackson movies. And Peter Jackson's movies early on were traditionally gory movies. Dead Alive, Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, stuff like that. They were all gory. And then Peter Jackson got offered the Lord of the Rings stuff. And then that seemed like that was all. Peter Jackson was known for Lord of the Rings. He was a Lord of the Rings guy. Just like Sam Raimi, when he started doing the Spider-Man stuff, it was like, he's the guy that did Spider-Man. Oh, what about Evil Dead? What about it? And so I think kind of the same thing happened to Peter Jackson. He did all these really super gory, wacky, off-the-wall movies early in his career. And then he got offered the big bad Lord of the Rings series, which I'm not putting it down at all as a great series. I'm just saying, then all of a sudden people want to, I didn't say Peter Jackson wanted to forget, but certain people want to forget that this kind of stuff is what he started out doing. He didn't start out doing Lord of the Rings. He started out doing these gory, like I said, wacky, off-the-wall horror films. And John, you say, yeah, I like being able to let my Labradoodle in the office with me sometimes. I can't imagine creating him wild dog. Well, y'all can probably hear the fireworks now. Reggie, my pit bull boxer mix, he is a mess, but the reason he has to be created whenever me and Steve are gone is because he can be destructive. I think he probably gets bored and will destroy things around the house. Sammy, my tricolor basset hound, he's the same way. If he was left out a little bit when Steve and I first got him, and at first it was okay, and Reggie was okay too, and then slowly they started tearing shit up. And Sammy tore up Steve's the cover to his Bird with the Crystal Plumage record, and Steve wasn't as upset about it actually as I was. I was really upset. Hello, are Carrie famous? Um, but so I would much prefer going back and watching what Peter Jackson started out doing, because I think these are his most fun films. If you want to watch an epic film, then the Lord of the Rings stuff would be the movie for you. Um, but if you really want to watch a fun, wacky, super ultra gory movie, then his early stuff would be the way to go. Hey, X-Ray, we are discussing, right now we're discussing Dead Alive, which this is Steve's copy. I think I bought him this when it came out. This is, I guess this is Lionsgate. Lionsgate put it out. It is unrated. It's 97 minutes long, so it's just a little bit longer than your average horror film, but not too much. X-Ray, you say Peter Jackson will never go back to his roots because he went full Hollywood sellout. Well, I don't, sometimes when I get a little agitated, frustrated and stuff, I'll say that, that Peter Jackson sold out, Sam Raimi sold out, John Carpenter sold out, even poor George Romero, who sadly is no longer with us, sold out. Um, but see, in George Romero's case, he didn't sell out to L.A. The way some of the other guys I feel like did. I think in George Romero's case, he just caved. He just caved to the people with the money. Eventually, he held out for as long as he could, and then he just couldn't do it anymore. Mary Carey, you say, yeah, good morning here. I would love to watch the Amazing Horror Movies Dana on Deck, a movie. Dana on Deck? No, actually, Dana on Deck is just something that, a logo that my friend Wes, or otherwise known as CK, came up with for me. Steve, my husband, also says it's Dana on Deck. The actual name of my show is Deadites on Deck because I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. Texas, you say I need a copy of Meet the Feebles. Right now, I only have a DVD copy of it, but like that. That movie is so crazy. You have like these Muppets getting VD and stuff. It is so crazy. I've never quite seen a movie like it. John, you say, I wonder how in the hell they say Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles and said This guy should make Lord of the Rings. Exactly, John. I thought that too. I was like, what from his past movies made them think that he would be the choice for Lord of the Rings stuff? But and I'm not saying he did a bad job with it. I'm just saying I don't know what made them think of him. X-Ray, you say Romero only ever sold out when he did Land, technically. And I don't even think I watched Land. It was like after Diary of the Dead, I just couldn't take it anymore. Jay, you said the only correct people to be mad at for selling out are Metallica. John, you said John Carpenter said he got the Elvis TV movie because the studio said, "Oh, you did Halloween, so you know how music works." So strange. Yeah, that is strange. Jay, you say Jackson worked great with FX on a budget, and he had filmmaking talent. Yeah, he did. He did know how to keep things within budget, and that may have seemed great for producers that wanted to, and movie studios that wanted to get this movie made. They were like, probably, this is a guy that can do great things with a set budget or a lower than normal budget. So let's see what he can do with this. And they probably thought he wouldn't be asking for a lot of stuff. So a little bit about the plot of Dead Alive. I'll read a little bit from the back of the Blu-ray here. It says, throw out all your preconceptions about the limits of horror. A new standard has been set with Dead Alive, the mother of all horror films. On a quiet street in a small town, pure evil has come to stay. An innocent young man forced to care for his domineering mother finds the task a whole lot more demanding after she's bitten by the cursed Mandarin rat monkey. And let me tell you, this thing does not look like a monkey in any way, shape, or form. It looks like a rat. Passing the point of death, Vera sucks friends and family into her gruesome existence among the living dead, and Lionel is sent spiraling into a ghoulish nightmare. Now a crazed zombie, she soon infects enough people to make it difficult for Lionel, still the faithful son, to keep the neighbors from suspecting that something is terribly wrong. Dripping with state-of-the-art special effects that feature mutilations, rock and roll dismemberments, and household appliances, it all combines into the most bizarre ending ever filmed. And believe it or not, I had forgotten just how bloody and gory this movie is. And of course, Peter Jackson makes a cameo as the mortician's assistant. You have a weird veterinarian, a Nazi veterinarian in this. And I kid you not, he has to be a Nazi veterinarian because he has a swastika on it on his sleeve. It's like, what in the heck here? Where'd this guy come from? The other thing I had forgotten about this movie was that it takes place in 1957 or so, and I should have been tipped off to the clothes they were wearing, and the cars they were driving and all that, but for some reason I just totally forgot about that part of it. Jay, so why wouldn't you hire him for Lord of the Rings? Well, I'm just saying, he could do those things, and that's probably more than likely why they wanted him. But I'm just saying, I just wonder if they actually saw the movies that he made prior to that. Texas, you said The Frighteners is awesome. I haven't seen The Frighteners for a while, but I remember it being a decent movie. So this movie starts out in a foreign land, some kind of jungles or something. And these two guys have, I guess, the rat monkey in a crate, and the one guy keeps telling the other guys, like, just let it go. It's cursed. We don't want to mess with it and all that. And the guy is convinced he's going to get this big money for this rat monkey, curse or not. But things end up going awry, and the guy gets bitten by the rat monkey, and these guys just keep cutting his limbs and stuff off because they see where the rat monkey has bitten this guy multiple places. They cut his arms and stuff off, and then I guess they end up cutting his head off because they see a mark on his forehead. So then the rat monkey ends up in the zoo, and Lionel, through a twist of fate, gets involved with this girl, and she wants him to take her on a date to the zoo. Well, his domineering mother shows up and basically thinks this young woman that Lionel is with, her son is with, is a slut, and he needs to come home with his mother and help his mother with, because she's planning this big dinner party where she's going to be Christian head of some kind of group. I forgot what kind of group it is now. But the other thing is, she always told Lionel that his father died through drowning trying to save Lionel when Lionel was a child. We find out later that Lionel's mother killed his father. She drowned him in the bathtub in front of Lionel, and also drowned the woman he was having an affair with. And I guess through, protection, Lionel had blocked all that out. But then later on, he starts remembering what happened. So while his mother is there pretty much looking for Lionel so he can come back home with her, she leans up against the cage where the rat monkey is and gets bit on the arm. And so, Lionel takes her home, and she's like, "Oh, Lionel, take me home," So Lionel takes her home, and a nurse comes by the house, and they bandage up her arm and all that. And then the next day, Lionel's mother is much worse, and you could see that the bite wound has become infected and all pussy. It has this pus squirting out of it, and his mother is really worse for wear. But she says, I've got to meet with these people today. They're going to give me this award and everything. And so Lionel does his best to bandage her arm back up, and she's, I guess, going to put her makeup on, and her skin starts peeling off of her face. And so I believe Lionel uses super glue to put her skin back on her face. And then they're eating this meal, and the woman that's there to give Lionel's mother the award notices some weird things going on. That stuff is squirting out of the wound in her arm. There was weird things going on with Lionel's mom's face. But the guy that's there, he doesn't really notice anything that's unusual. He's too busy eating his food or whatever. So then, Lionel's trying to hurry up and get this dinner over with so that he can get those two out of the house. Well, the man wants some pudding. He said, "We can't end our dinner without pudding." So Lionel goes and gets 4 bowls of pudding or whatever and brings them out. And the guy's gobbling it down, and he's not really looking. And this pussy stuff comes squirting out of Lionel's mom's arm and goes right into the pudding. And everybody sees it except this guy, and he's still eating it. And Lionel's mother's ear falls off and falls into her pudding, and she ends up eating it, earring and all. And that's just like that's just the start of it. You think that stuff's bad, it goes from bad to worse. Um, the nurse comes back to help Lionel with his mother, and ends up getting bit herself by Lionel's mother, and then she gets possessed or whatever you want to call it, zombified, whatever. And they have to practically cut her head off. And so she spends the rest of the movie with her head flipping back like a top on some, a flip cap or something. And so Lionel ends up having to take care of his mother, this nurse, later a priest who ends up having sex with the nurse after he's possessed. And they have this little mutant baby that goes around doing all kinds of shit. Um, so he's trying to take care of all these people. Meanwhile, I'm sorry for Brandon barking in the background. I was hoping he would go lay down. Meanwhile, they supposedly had a funeral for Lionel's mother, who most people thought died, not that she was still, that Lionel wasn't still keeping her at the house and trying to take care of her. But so Lionel's uncle ends up coming in. His uncle's a real sleazy guy, and he thinks he's going to worm his way back in and be able to get some of the inheritance that supposedly Lionel's mother had left behind. And so I guess he takes it upon himself to consider part of that big old house his. And so he has a big party there. Well, all hell breaks loose, and the guests start getting infected. And so then Lionel and his girlfriend, and for a little while, his uncle, are trying to fight these infected, zombified people off, and like they're putting body parts in a blender, chopping limbs and heads off. And there's even a scene earlier before the priest gets infected where he's like doing some kung fu on them, which I have never seen that before either. So then there's the big scene near the end where Lionel takes the lawnmower and he's got it like this, and he says, "Party's over." And then he just starts like chopping them up left and right. And yeah, what else can I say about this? But this is, again, so gory, so over the top, so wacky that I found myself laughing. You can't be scared of this because it's just so crazy, but it's a lot of fun. And I think Peter Jackson had a lot of fun making these movies. I couldn't imagine him not having a good time. So if you have not seen Dead Alive, I would highly, highly recommend that you do watch this. This is a gem. Especially if you like good horror comedies, I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Let's see. John, you are right. He's got Sam Raimi kind of humor with this movie. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking last night when I was rewatching it. That it seemed a lot like a Raimi film, like an early Raimi film. It had that Evil Dead sensibility to it. Yeah, Paquita. Jay, you're right. Paquita is the woman you want to slay your domineering mom. Yeah, and then was it just me or the one part where I can't remember if it was his mom or his uncle had turned into this monster thing, and it reminded me a lot of John Carpenter's The Thing, when the head comes up out of the big mutated body. I think it was his uncle that it looked like that. And even the mother looked like some kind of Evil Dead too, like Henrietta demon type stuff near the very end. So I definitely could see an Evil Dead Sam Raimi influence on this. I don't think he copied anything per se, but I'm just saying I could definitely see some influences there, possibly. But let me talk about a few of the special features on this particular Blu ray. Well, I'm looking at it, and there's not really. I mean, you get the theatrical trailer, and it's in 1080p high definition and widescreen. It does only have 2.0 DTS HD master audio. But on this version, I don't see any commentary or anything like that. But it is a really fun movie. Highly recommend it. I would get the unrated version if there is a rated version floating around. John, you say, what is it with these Australian and New Zealand horror films? They are wild. You know what? I don't really know, John. I've thought about that too. Um, I guess in the same way that, like, especially during the early 80s, a lot of Canadian horror, like Canadian slasher movies, were, and even including Black Christmas, which was early to mid 70s, um, that they were, making stuff above and beyond, in my opinion, what the United States was making. Filmmakers in the United States. So I'm guessing maybe that's similar. The Aussies and the Kiwis or whatever were making these outlandish horror films at a certain period of time. And it, in a lot of ways, to me, as a big horror fan, I feel like that time has seemed to have come and gone, both for Canadian horror films, with the exception of a few here and there, and for Australian horror films as well, with maybe a few exceptions here and there. That it does seem to have come and gone. It has its place in horror history, but hasn't really been revived in any way. John, you saying J-horror, they're the most polite and nice culture in Japan, but they make the most violent, extreme movies. They do, and perverted movies, in my opinion, especially after watching The Sadness and seeing, but I don't know if The Sadness was Japanese or Chinese or what that one was. I always get confused. Yeah, and it could be their way of venting, John. Might be how they are able to stay polite and everything. But anyway, that's Dead Alive, and I highly, highly recommend it. I need to get myself a copy of it. I think I only have a DVD copy. Y'all hear those fireworks? I bet you do hear them in the background, because here in the back room you can hear them more. I think the neighbors in back of us or whatever are shooting some off. Oh, yeah, Sadness was from Taiwan. I remember now, Jay. Thank you for reminding me. You said mainstream J-horror is mostly ghost movies. Sadness was from Taiwan. And in Texas, you say Sadness was Indonesian, I believe. Yeah, it was one. It was one of those. I just always get all this stuff confused. It all looks like Asian movies to me, and I don't mean to, like, I would never want to offend, Chinese people or Japanese people or Taiwanese people or Indonesian people or whatever, by saying they were one or the other. But to me, it's just all like, sadly, I lump them all together. If it looks Asian or it looks Japanese, it looks Chinese, That's what I refer to it as, and Steve has to correct me all the time. But that was a loud one. Um, but guys, I hate to pause this, and it's not Brandon that's causing it right now, but I do need, I've drank a lot of Mountain Dew, and I do need to run to the restroom really quick, so I'm going to put the lovely background on, and I will be back to cover the second movie here in just a couple of minutes. Okay, guys, I'm back. Um, Texas, you say, yep, Taiwanese, my bad. Ah, that's cool. Texas, as you can see, I call them Japanese, Chinese, whatever. Um, Sorry for eating, but I need a little something. These are actually, I don't know how many of you eat protein bars, but these are Pro Max protein bars. Chocolate chip cookie dough. Steve gets them. He had an extra one, so I'm eating on it. Um, John, you say Asian horror is good. It's so heavy and dark, not something I can watch daily. Yeah, me too. Jay, you say, John, may I suggest something fun and gory like Rikio? Oh wow, yeah, that's crazy. And John, you say, I like straight up serious horror, but comedy horror is so easy to watch more. It doesn't weigh on me as much. Yeah, I definitely see that. There are times when I need something like Dead Alive that's just batshit crazy off the wall, just to make me forget about any stress that's happened during the day. John, you say I still have video drone in my head a week later. LOL. Jay, you say French, German, all the same. Right. So, the second movie I wanted to talk about tonight is also one Steve mentioned when I asked him what he thought were two of the goriest movies for him. And that is Fulci's Zombie. This is the Blue Underground 4K of this. And as I've said before, Steve says a Blu-ray is good enough for him. And a Blu-ray is amazing. But I will say, if you have the 4K setup, I would highly, highly recommend getting this 4K. And especially if you have a Dolby Atmos speaker system set up, it's amazing. Even more amazing. Phenomenal with that Dolby Atmos sound. And so I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the plot of Zombie. But just in case any of you aren't, or people that may watch this later aren't, I'm just going to give a short plot synopsis for it. Not a really detailed plot. This is Fulci we're talking about. Okay. In Italy, it was considered the unofficial sequel to Dawn of the Dead. But don't expect this to be anything related to Dawn of the Dead. In England, it was known as Zombie Flesh Eaters and banned as obscene. In America, it was called Zombie and advertised with the depraved tagline, "We are going to eat you." Tisa Farrow from The Grim Reaper, also Mia Farrow's sister, Ian McCullough from Contamination, Al Cliver from Cannibals, and Richard Johnson from The Haunting, a star in this worldwide splatter sensation directed by the maestro of gore, Lucio Fulci, who also did, as many of you know, The House by the Cemetery, New York Ripper. He also did City of the Living Dead, The Beyond. We could go on and on with those. That remains one of the most eye-skewering, skin-ripping, gore-gushingly graphic horror hits of all time. So this is Blue Underground's critically acclaimed 2018 restoration of Zombie, scanned in 4K, 16-bit from the original 35mm 2-perf camera negative, is now presented with Dolby Vision HDR and a new Dolby Atmos audio mix, bursting at the seams with hours of extras. I'm going to talk about the extras here in a little bit. Jay, you say, Mr. Vampire movies from the 1980s, Hong Kong comedy horror, they are amazing. I'm going to have to ask Steve about those because I don't think I'm familiar with those, Jay. So, Zombie concerns, I mean, it kind of starts out with a bang. When you see Richard Johnson's character shooting, we don't know if it's a person wrapped up, if it's a sick person wrapped up. I mean, they're really wrapped up from head to toe. Which he proceeds to shoot in the head, and he utters the line, "Tell the crew the boat can leave now." The next thing you see is this boat floating in New York Harbor, and the Coast Guard sees it just floating around, and they're like, "Ahoy there," and trying to see if anybody's on the boat. So then they get on the boat and they're checking things around. This one guy goes below deck and sees some weird stuff down there. Like, I think he sees a severed hand and stuff. And then all of a sudden, what appears to be, you would have to call it a zombie now, I would guess, comes out and bites the guy, ends up killing him. The other guy sees this thing and shoots it. And then the next thing you know, they're kind of talking about, you know, what happened and the guy from the Coast Guard being attacked and killed and all that. And then Tisa Farrow shows up and Ian McCullough, after talking to Lucio Fulci in a really quick scene. Ian McCullough's character is a journalist who Lucio Fulci plays his boss at the newspaper office and basically sends him out to try to get the story of why this boat was floating in the harbor and, you know, what went on prior to this boat ending up in New York Harbor. So, it turns out that this boat belongs to Tisa Farrow's father in the movie. But she basically hasn't heard from her father in months. So she gets together with Ian McCullough and they decide to go to this island called Matul, I think is what it's called. And they get with Al Cliver and what's this chick's name? I thought it was like, I think it's Aretta Gay. But they meet up with them and they're planning on going on a vacation. I guess they're husband and wife. And they're going on a vacation. And so Tisa Farrow and Ian McCullough basically say, well, you know, she's looking for her father. We need to get to this Matul, this island. Can we hitch a ride for you? And so Al Cliver basically says, if you'll pay for part of the supplies, then yeah, you can catch a ride with us to this island. Let's see. And John, you say, did Fulci ever talk about how he got into horror? His career for years was not horror at all. John, I'm not really sure. Somebody else may know. I think Steve has watched a lot more documentaries on Fulci than I have. But I would assume, you know what happens when we assume, but I would assume that he was like many Italian directors, that he may have not started out in horror and he might not have always done horror. But as a lot of directors or wannabe directors have been told in the United States over the years and in Canada and in England and many other places, that if you want to get started in the movie business, an easy place to start is to break into horror movies because it's the easiest way to break into, or the easiest genre to break into. And so a lot of directors that are really well known now for different films started out as horror directors. I mean, it's not because they ever intended to stay in it, although some have, for the most part. Other directors, I've seen a lot of Italian directors do westerns. Like you said, John, he became known for it, but early on he did a lot of odd genres. Yeah, I think he may have even done some comedy. Now, I know he did do some westerns, and there was one western that Steve showed me that Fulci did, Four for the Apocalypse, I think. And it was a really good western. I really enjoyed it. But I'll have to get back to you on that because I'm not really sure. John, you say, yeah, I think Carpenter said he had always wanted to do westerns more, which makes sense with Assault on Precinct 13 and Big Trouble. Very western-like, yes. Yes, I would definitely agree with that. So, anyway, they finally find the island, but things are going very awry on Matul. Richard Johnson was evidently working with Tisa Farrow's father, and he became her father became ill with whatever this zombie infection is. And I believe Richard Johnson had to shoot him in the head like the rest of the people. Um, but Richard Johnson is kind of like the sole doctor, and he has a nurse that's helping him. And then there's a black guy. I forget what that guy's name is in the movie. That's kind of like a caretaker, but he also helps run errands for Richard Johnson and all this stuff. And so he's always talking about voodoo and stuff. And Richard Johnson's like, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear about voodoo. I don't believe in the voodoo. I don't believe that's what started this. There is also a really incredible scene in this movie that, for those of you that have seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When I say this is the best and only in my movie watching experience scene of a zombie attacking a shark. And essentially, I guess the shark ends up winning because it bites the zombie's arm off and kind of swims away. But the zombie does get a few bites on the underbelly of the shark. Let's see. Jay, you say Fulci did the gory horror movies for the cash. Oh, there's no doubt he did that. I'm sure he got a fair amount of cash from those. Darren, you say Fulci usually jumped on trends. He made 3 fantastic giallo films, 2 of which came after Bird with Crystal Plumage. This film came on the back of Dawn of the Dead. Yes, exactly. Dirk, you say, hey Dana, I got full and passed out watching 1981's Incubus. LOL, I just woke up. Oh, that's cool, Dirk. I'm glad you're here now. Dirk, well, actually, I'm not going to go too deeply into it because I know you've already heard me say 2 or 3 times how sick I am or have been. So, and hey guys, I got my zombie shirt on from Bright Rags. Let's show you that there. And I told Steve I was going to wear that for the stream tonight, and he said, good for you. Basically, so. Jay, you say, Dirk, did anything violate you while you were passed out? I hope not. Unless he wanted to be violated, I don't know. John, you say, oh, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, I had a feeling Fulci didn't want to do that, especially. I can see Argento having more of a passion for the genre. You know, I don't know if I've seen The Incubus. I need to watch that. It's 1981, you say, Dirk? I'll have to look into watching that one. I think that's a great opinion, John. I always say I love the different opinions that we have in here. Yeah, Darren, that's a good way to put it. That Fulci was more a for-hire director. Yeah. Steve can be a man of many words, and he can be a man of a few words. He hasn't been saying all too much today. He was really wiped out. And I kind of feel sorry for him because I'm getting to work from home, and he's got to get up an hour earlier tomorrow and go to work. Like, he's going to be doing that for 2 weeks. But, another loud one. So, you also have the scene where, Aretta Gay, I believe is who it is, wants Al Cliver to stop the boat so she can go underwater and take some underwater shots. And that's where she sees the zombie and the shark having a tussle. Um, but I don't know why this is needed in this movie, except male titillation, or a humorous scene, because the look on Ian McAuliffe during this whole scene is hilarious. And the looks he and Tisa Farrow are giving each other is kind of funny too. But I read a gay, like, after telling Al Cliver, hey, can we stop? Um, I can get some great shots, I think. So she has this long, like, sweater on. And then I guess she's got, like, bikini bottoms or a thong or whatever you want to call it. Because when she turns around, you can see her whole ass. And there's just a string going up her butt. I don't even know how that can be really considered a bottom to a bathing suit. I mean, it covers up most of the front part, but it's like basically covers nothing in the back. So, but she takes off the sweater and she's got nothing on covering her boobies. So first of all, you see that, and her body's not too bad. I'll be honest. This is a woman's perspective, a straight woman's perspective. She's got a pretty decent figure. And then she has this basically a thong on the bottom part. And the camera, Fulci really lets the camera travel over the upper part of her body when she takes the top off. And then it kind of lingers on her nether regions when she's strapping the tank on because she's getting ready to go underwater and take some pictures underwater. And they really kind of zoom in on her nether regions while she's buckling that tank on. And I'm like, okay, I don't really get it, but whatever. I guess Fulci thought it was essential to this movie to have this little titillating part in there, and I'm sure you guys like that. Um, so so then this is when we see the shark versus zombie or zombie versus shark scene. Steve actually, he didn't want the shirt that I've got. He wanted the blue shirt from Fright Rags that has the zombie fighting with the or wrestling with the shark, and I ended up buying him that one. It sold out first time around in the size we needed, but when it came back in stock or they reprinted it or whatever, I got one for him. But John, you say I don't love Fulci, but he no doubt had a great sense of gore, makeup, and music. He could set a mood so well. The stories, I think the story wasn't the focus of his or meant to be. I don't think so. And I don't even think story was a focus for Argento because, as we've talked before, with a lot of Argento stuff, it's beautiful and gory at the same time. There's fantastic music in it, but sometimes the storylines don't make a lick of sense. Well, we don't care because everything else is great. And I think the same can be said for Fulci. Sometimes the storyline may not make complete logical sense, but it's a horror film. We're not looking for logic, or I'm not looking for logic when I watch a horror film. I'm just looking for this fun, sometimes super gory, wacky time waster, so I don't have to think about all the craziness that's going on in the world or any stress that's happening to me during the day. I just want to let that all melt away and focus on this movie. John, you say, yeah, Fulci had the sleaze factor down. He knew what was going to sell. He definitely did. Darren, you say, Danny, you got the Stephen Thrower book Beyond Terror. I don't, but Steve does. He said, or you say, also there's one called Splinter and Visions. It's great. Best two books on Fulci. Darren, Steve might actually have both of those. I know he's got the Beyond Terror one, and I need to read that one. The Stephen Thrower book I have is the Nightmare USA book, which Steve also has a copy of. John, you say, to me, the best story driven Argento is Deep Red and Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Those are excellent films, 10 out of 10. No, I'm not shaming you for being titillated, Jay. I'm just saying I know straight guys, and they're gonna enjoy that. And Fulci knew that he wasn't any dummy. Um, I'm just saying it really had no place in the plot of the movie. Really, the only thing it was eye candy for members of the male audience. Uh, Derek, you say Umberto Lindsay's Nightmare City keeps my sides hurting. Yeah, it does me too. Texas, you say Stephen Thrower looks like the British uh, Arn Anderson. John, you say, I agree though. I like Inferno, but it's stupid as hell. It's all about music and atmosphere in that one. Yeah, I think, and the first time I watched Inferno, I honestly didn't much care for it. It's kind of grown on me over the years, but it's still not one of my favorite Argento films. But a lot of other people like it really well. So, one of my favorite zombies in the movie Zombie is the guy you see right here with the worms coming out of his eye socket and everything. But he's basically what you would call the featured zombie or the hero zombie or whatever. And this guy shows up when they're taking refuge, when our four uh, uh, unfortunate people that make it to Matul, they're taking refuge in what they don't at first realize is an old cemetery. Then they realize, oh my gosh, we're laying right on top of a cemetery. A hand comes up, it grabs Tisa Farrell by the hair. Um, there was a vehicle accident right before this, and Ian McCullough's ankle is injured. Well, one of the zombies grabs his ankle and is twisting. He's screaming. And all of a sudden, like Brian, Al Cliver's character, goes to help Tisa Farrow and Ian McCullough and basically leaves his wife by herself. She's frozen in terror as she's watching this guy here rise up. And this guy must be a tall guy, or they had elevated shoes on him or whatever. But he raises up and then springs forward and tears a big chunk out of her throat, killing her. That is probably, other than the splinter scene where the wood goes into the Richard Johnson's wife's eye, like slowly, you see it going towards her eye, going towards her eye, going towards her eye, and it finally just slowly pierces that eye. That scene and this guy here, those, and of course the shark versus zombie scene, zombie versus shark scene. Those are like probably my three top scenes in this movie. And I really can't say for sure what makes this movie work for me, but it seems to hit all the bases. I think the characters are great in it. I think the zombie makeup, for the most part, is well done. I think the music is great. And it works. It works in ways that a movie like Nightmare City, although interesting and fun to watch and wacky and off the wall crazy, but I think Zombie works better as a horror film than Nightmare City does. Of course, that's my opinion only. So, I don't know. I could go on and on about Zombie, but I don't think I need to, because I think the majority of you guys that are in here have probably already seen this movie a half a dozen times or more. You know what a great movie it is. But I will tell you once again that even if you have the Blu-ray, the 2018 transfer of this, if you have a 4K setup, and especially if you have a 4K setup plus the Dolby Atmos sound, pick this sucker up, please, because you will not regret it. I know what I said about Steve saying he'll just stick with his Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray was great. The Blu-ray was so fantastic that once I finished it the first time around, I went back and I rewatched it again. But then when I saw the 4K, I was like, wow, it should be impossible that they could improve upon that Blu-ray with the 4K, but they did. They absolutely did. So, yeah, Blue Underground really pulled out all the stops with this, with both the Blu-ray and the 4K. Let's see. I'm just seeing what you guys have put that I might have missed here. Ben, you said, don't know anybody that hates boobs. Darky said, Argento is really mostly visuals, but when you watch the Three Mothers trilogy back to back to back, it does make more sense to me. It did. I could see that too. Jay, you said, Dakar and Al Cliver didn't give Danny the vapors. Al Cliver does it, but amazingly, Ian McAuliffe, I guess maybe it's the British thing. I don't know, but I like that guy. Darren, you say Infernal is almost like watching One Long Dream. I think it's completely underrated. That underwater scene is up there with anything he's done. Yeah, Darren, I hear people mention the underwater scene quite a bit, and it no doubt is a great scene. But I think I would probably have to do what Dirk suggested and watch the Three Mothers trilogy back to back to back before it would make the most sense to me. I think just watching Inferno by itself is, in my case, the wrong thing to do. Let's see. Darky says, Zombie is my favorite Fulci by far and is definitely in my top 3 zombie films of all time. Yeah, it's up there for me too, Dirk. It has to be. Texas, you say, picked up Inferno during the previous Kino sale. Cool. John, you say, I need to go through all of his, but skip House by the Cemetery. I can't hear Bob's ass again. I saw it a few months back again. Yeah, I know. I mean, I bet you've heard the story, John, of the guy apologizing for the actor they used to dub him in all those movies. It's like he has apologized repeatedly for that to people that have met him at conventions and stuff. But that notwithstanding, I love House by the Cemetery, and I haven't watched it for a while. I had my 4K out and watched it in the last few months, I'd say, but not just super recently. Durkee said, I agree, Darren, that underwater scene is gold. And John, you say the underwater scene is awesome. Not getting any arguments here from me on that. Darren, you say Zombie being filmed in bright sunlight really makes it a beautiful looking film. That's why it looks so good in 4K, in my opinion. And you're no doubt right about that, Darren. A lot of the action does take place in the daylight, which also makes me have more respect for Fulci being able to film it as well as he did. And the time that it took, the time where this took place, in the late 70s. Um, I have yet to see anything from this time period look this good. I have not found anything that looks as good as Zombie on 4K or Blu-ray. I've saw things that look good, but not looked amazing like this. Dougie said, Bob cracks me up, no doubt. Texas, you say, fuck Bob. Well, it's not really the Bob character. It's the annoying way his voice sounds, which is through no fault of his own. It's just whoever they picked to dub him. But let me just talk a little bit about the special features on this 4K. Many of these, I'm sure, are on the Blu-ray as well. I think even in this set, yeah, you do get well, actually, this is a Blu-ray with the extras, I guess. Yeah. And then you get the feature, actually, on 4K. And there goes those loud booms again. But anyway, let me go over these special features real quickly here. Kind of. Well, trying to get that back in the slipcase. I'm having trouble getting it back in there. Oh, good Lord. I haven't had trouble all day putting that thing back in there. Okay, here we go. On disc 1, you have audio commentary number 1 with Troy Howarth, author of Splintered Visions, which Darren brought up earlier. Lucio Fulci in his films. Audio commentary number 2 with star Ian McCullough and Diabolic magazine editor Jason J. Slater. When the Earth Spits Out the Dead interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Beyond Terror, the films of Lucio Fulci. Theatrical trailers, TV spots, radio spots, a poster and still gallery, and Guillermo del Toro intro. Disc 2 has Zombie Wasteland interviews with stars Ian McCullough, Richard Johnson, and Al Cliver, and actor and stuntman Octaviano Del Aqua, who I believe played the featured zombie. Flesh Eaters on Film interview with co-producer Fabrizio De Angelis. Dead Time Stories interviews with co-writers Elisa Brigante and uncredited Dardano Sacchetti. World of the Dead interviews with cinematographer Sergio Salvati and production and costume designer Walter Patriciarca. I don't know, I'm massacring these poor people's names. Zombie Italiano interviews with special makeup effects artist Gianetto De Rossi and Marzio Tranni and special effects artist Gino De Rossi. Notes on a Headstone interview with composer Fabio Frizzi. All in the Family interview with Antonella Fulci. Zombie Lover award-winning filmmaker Guillermo del Toro talks about one of his favorite films. So, again, this is Zombie, Fulci's Zombie. This is not rated as well. So we have Dead Alive, which was unrated. And we have Zombie, which was not rated. So, let's see. Darren, you say, House by the Cemetery is a fantastic film and has lots of elements, zombie, slasher, ghost. It's another film that should be talked about more. John, you say, Freudstein's grunting during stabbing is hilarious. First time seeing it was like, is he getting excited? I'd forgotten about that, John, but you're right. That is hilarious. Jay, you say, yeah, Zombie 4K is better than the Suspiria 4K. Damn it, thought thought I was good with the zombie blue from 2018. Well, you might want to get some other people's opinions on it, Jay. The Suspiria 4K is awesome. But the zombie Blu-ray blew me away, and then I was kind of a little bit hesitant about getting the 4K of Zombie, and then when Steve said that he was fine with just sticking with his Blu-ray of Zombie, I kind of thought about it for half a second, and then I thought, well, shit, I'll just go ahead and get it. And I was not disappointed at all. But before you actually go and plunk down your hard-earned money, you might want to see if you can get other people's opinions on it, Jay, before you actually buy that 4K. John, you said the soundtrack to House by the Cemetery is killer, though. I'd love it. Yeah, I do like that as well. And Dirk, I do agree with you. I don't think I've seen a bad Blue Underground 4K. They must really, really work on those suckers. Or they're getting really lucky with the transfers they're getting to work with. But, guys, that is about all I have to talk about tonight. And I did it in under 2 hours. And I hope that it didn't feel rushed. I am feeling less than well. And I'm sure that's one of the reasons why I didn't go on as long as I normally do. And also, I'm trying to keep myself from just going on and on and on and on about the movies I'm talking about. Try to give you a brief overview and talk about a few highlights on them and tell you about the special features on the discs I have. And that was loud. And that's mainly what I wanted to do with this one as well. But I'll be glad to stay on here a few more minutes if you guys want to, ask me some stuff or comment on some things, or, we can bullshit for a few minutes more. And I'll be glad to stay on here a few minutes more to do that. Okay, Darren, you're putting me on the spot. You want to know what my 5 fave Fulci films in no order are. So, since you say no order, let's see. City of the Living Dead, Zombie, The Beyond, I guess I'd have to have House by the Cemetery in there. And one more. I'm trying to think here. I'm having a hard time naming 5 favorites because I'm just trying to think if I'm forgetting one of Fulci's. Oh, man. I don't know. I may have to get back with you, Darren, on the 5th one, but there's 4 of them that I can think of right off the top of my head. John, you said, what TV did y'all have, by the way? Is it a 4K? We do have a 4K TV. It is a, oh gosh, what did I get? Was it a Sanyo? Hold on just a second. There you go, Darren. I would put Don't Torture a Duckling in those 5. That's one I was forgetting. Thank you. So I was able to give you 5. Hold on, guys. I'm going to go check. I want to say it's a Sanyo, but I could be wrong, and I don't want to give John the wrong information. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm back. I was totally wrong. It is a Samsung. I think a 72-inch Samsung 4K TV, John. Uh, Texas, you say, so I was expecting 2 Amazon packages yesterday, and these idiots delivered them to a mailroom. My complex doesn't have a mailroom. Oh, lovely. Well, I was supposed, and I knew I wouldn't get it, but supposedly Steve and I were supposed to get our vinegar syndrome order in yesterday, and it never showed. And then they kept saying all day it was going to be delivered. And here's my Reggie. Say hi, Reggie. This is my big baby here. This is my pit bull boxer mix. He wanted to say hello, didn't you, Reggie? He's a good boy. Reggie, I'm almost done, buddy, okay? Yeah. Ow, don't do that. I'll give you a kiss, Dale. See? I have to kiss him and love on him. But anyway, they basically said all day long that FedEx was going to deliver, and I was like, FedEx ain't going to do shit. And of course, we didn't get it today because it was the 4th of July, and I knew we wouldn't get it today. If we didn't get it yesterday, we weren't going to get it today. And then, right at like maybe 9 or later, they said the delivery date was pending. So I suspect that maybe we'll get it tomorrow. And so I feel your pain, Texas. I do. Um, Johnny say, I did find a way around Region B Blu-rays and Region Free players. Blu-ray drives and make MKV. It can rip all region movies. Cheap option under $50 for desktop. That's cool, John. Thanks for sharing that tip. I don't even know if Steve knew that. Durkee say, 1 Zombie, 2 New York Ripper, 3 House by the Cemetery, 4 Gates of Hell, 5 The Beyond. Your list was almost like mine. Darren, you say I got a 65-inch 4K TV. Techwood is the make. I know it's not well known, but the picture pops on it. Well, see, Darren, really, that's all that matters. And yes, Dirk, I agree with Darren. That was a good top 5. And you got Don't Torture Duckling at number 6. Texas, you say Dirk is the movie maestro. Darren, you say Don't Torture, House by the Cemetery, The Beyond, New York Ripper, and Zombie. Darren doesn't have Gates of Hell or See the Living Dead in his top 5. That's interesting, though. I'm glad that we didn't all just have the exact same one. Wes, Steve is in bed. Steve went to bed even earlier than normal because for the next 2 weeks he's going to be having to get up an hour earlier. And with another big boom. Texas, you say there's a retirement home on the next street over, and I think it's there. I'm sorry, Texas. It's not funny that your stuff got delivered to the wrong place, but I'm assuming it's horror movies, and it getting delivered to a retirement home just makes me laugh. And they haven't returned your call. You say you raised hell with Amazon. They are resending everything. Well, good for you. I'm glad that they're going to resend it to you. Wes, you say Gates of Hell is my favorite Fulci. Well, yeah, it's at the top of my list too, Wes. Jay, you say I can't do anything less than the Fulci top 10. John, you say, yeah, I don't fault anyone for getting a region-free player, but I'm all about the cheapest options. I'm fine ripping Region B movies and playing them on flash drives on TV. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's whatever way works for you and whatever is more friendly for your budget, I would say. But I'm not sure where Reggie went. Oh, he's laying there on the step coming down here into this room. But hey, Wes, what do you think of my backgrounds my green screen backgrounds that I've had on here as of late? Uh, I'm liking them. I think I may stick with here's Reggie again. I think I may stick with these Shutterstock images for a while because, like I said before, that these are working out a lot better than those piece together things I was trying to do, and it's easier to get my lighting set up to make these look better. Jay, you say, I got a UHD drive to rip disk, works great. Now I just need something bigger than this laptop. Yeah, and you know, I understand that it takes people time to save up for things. It's taken me time to save up for certain things that I've gotten. Of course, I'll be honest, I got the TV whenever I still had the credit card. So I wouldn't really recommend that, but that's what I ended up doing. Um, well, she said, did anybody get in on Mardi Gras Massacre and Tales of the Uncanny before they sold out? Uh, I did not, Wes. I'm not sure about anybody else. You say that one looks cool, nice color scheme. Oh, you like the, well, of course you like that green, don't you, Wes? Yeah, actually, I got this off of Shutterstock. I'm right now. I'm enjoying their free month where I get like 10 images free this month, and then um, if I decide to stay with it, then it'll be like $29 a month, and I can get 10 images per month that I can download. I figure if I stick with it for a while, I'll be able to get all the images I could ever need to use. Darky say, you didn't. You passed on Mardi Gras thinking I'd get it next sale. Yeah, I was thinking that Mardi Gras Massacre was a horrible film, so I don't know. That might be why subconsciously I was waiting for it. You can get images for me to use, Wes. Well, uh, I just hate to bother people with asking them to, send me images. I try to do a lot of this stuff on my own instead of, I appreciate the offer and everything. I feel like, even though my live streams aren't like super super popular, I have quality people that come in here, and that I enjoy talking to and stuff. But what I'm really trying to do with this stuff, I'm kind of trying to make my own way instead of people saying, oh, well, she's riding on the coattails of Dead Pit, or she's riding on the coattails of somebody else. Um, I don't, I don't want that to be said. But, if you got some, a couple of images here and there that you want to share with me, Wes, I would be glad to partake of those. Darren, you say, I got the old Code Red DVD of Mardi Gras Massacre. Had it for 10 years and still not watched it, LOL. Oh, Wes, Mardi Gras Massacre got yanked by Severin. Do you know why it got yanked? Was it some kind of copyright deal, or what was the deal there? John, you say, I laughed so hard at Screen Factory botching that Army of Darkness pre-order price. Wasn't it listed at 52? Oh, dang. I wish I had caught it when it was like that, because it's sure not like that now. Wouldn't be the first time they botched something like that. But I'll probably stay on here a couple more minutes and make it 10 o'clock when I get off here. So if y'all want to mention anything else, then feel free to do that in the next couple of minutes, and I will, answer it, as I can. She said both Mardi Gras and Uncanny got yanked. Well, did they get yanked because of some kind of copyright thing, or the images they were using, or Um, they just canceled everyone's orders because that company is run by pieces of shit. Well, I don't know if Steve ordered. I can't remember what he got from Severin, but he and I heard that there were other people that I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or something is screwed with their system. But the last few times Steve has ordered from Severin, they have said that for some reason they didn't have his address on record, and that slowed up him getting his order. Like, it's happened more than once, not just this time. So I don't know what the deal is there. Um, oh, Screen Factory. Okay. That you're saying that Screen Factory is run by pieces of shit? Well, in that what they do every time they botch something, they cancel everybody's orders. Darky say, has anyone here seen 1961 Black Gravel? About to give it a watch. I have not, Dirk. I don't think I've even heard of that one, but it sounds intriguing though. Well, she said everyone that ordered that set for $52 got canceled. Well, I'm glad I didn't even do that then. Texas, you said, well, I gave Severin about 4 bills during the halfway to Black Friday sale. That should help for some attorney's fees. John, you say, it's insane that a company as big as Shout Factory has more problems with 4 times the money that a small company like Vinegar Syndrome has. You would think it would be the opposite. Darren, you say you haven't heard of it either. Okay. So, it is now officially 10:01, and I think this gal's going to have to take some more medicine and see if she can get some rest. Even though I'm working from home tomorrow, I still need to get some rest to drag my sickly ass back here to my desk to work tomorrow. So I thank you guys again for stopping by and hanging out with me for a couple hours, and it's been a good discussion. I enjoyed talking about Dead Alive and Zombie. And I just want to remind you that Wednesday I will be doing the Cheese Extreme Wednesday, week 3. And I will be talking about the Deadly Spawn and Death Screams. So you guys can look forward to that one on Wednesday. You have a good one too, Darren. And y'all be good or be good at it, Dirk. I'll try. Thank you, John. See y'all next time. Thank you, Texas. I'll see you next time. And I'm going to skedaddle on out of here. You're welcome, Jay. Thank you for stopping by. I'm going to skedaddle on out of here, guys, and I will see you guys on the flip side.